Durk is John Gotti if we compare the Gambino crime family to Only the Family.
Developing this morning, Chicago police have released surveillance video of a person of interest in the deadly shooting of a postal worker.
The shooting happened last month in the West Pullman neighborhood. Mugo Odigwe is live in the newsroom this morning with a look at that new video. So Mugo, what does it show?
Well, first off, we know the U.S. Postal Inspection Service is already offering a $250,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction in this case. And now Chicago police are hoping the new video gets them closer to the killer. So here's that video on your screen. Part of it shows a man getting to a white Dodge Durango near 70th and Campbell. This is right before the shooting. Then at some point, the same video shows a man getting out of that Durango near 121st and Harvard. He runs across the street and out of view. Then he runs back to the car before it drives off. Police say on that day, Friday, July 19th, around 11:40 in the morning, 48-year-old postal worker Octavia Redmond was in front of a home near 121st and Harvard when a man walked up to her and shot her. She died at the hospital. The Dodge Durango used in the shooting was later found abandoned and torched in the middle of a field on South Holland Avenue. Now, anyone with information on this shooting is asked to call Area 2 detectives, or you can leave anonymous tips at cpdtip.com. We're live in the newsroom. Mugo Odigwe, CBS News Chicago.
So there's this story that came out, that story right there, that was Jam's baby mama, and she got blicked down by a little OTF member. And I'm going to explain why that makes zero goddamn sense. Because academics went on this crazy theory, but it didn't make sense, and it's not going to make sense. But to the untrained eye, it makes a lot of sense.
Paid killers to do his bidding, but they also say he is a person that has pulled the trigger himself. Okay? So they say the majority of people who got shot, he allegedly paid for, but he also is accused of shooting people himself. Now, I'm going to break down 3 incidents, and everything kind of gets, Durk in around 2014, 2015. If you guys don't, I'll give you his quick history real quick. He comes in with pretty much as the number 2 guy when we think about the drill scene behind Chief Keef. We're having emergence in hip hop of people are infatuated with drill, but it fizzled out by like 14, 15. Keef moves out of Chicago, and it's just the wave's just not that strong. A lot of people die. A lot of things happen. He's about to get dropped by Def Jam at the time. He's in a really weird place. He has a great friendship with French Montana. Now, that's important. It appears that Durk probably knew he was starting to feel away, but Durk didn't give a fuck. Durk says, I just did some shit to piss him off. So either he's kind of like bragging about not paying Jam, or there is a theory that Durk quickly start realizing that Jam might be jammed up by the feds, and that's why he doesn't want to pay it. It's either one. But basically, this is proof that Jam felt underappreciated, and the reality is, I know 50,000 is a lot of money, but it's not enough money for unlimited murders. Okay? Like, come on, right? Like, it's not like a murder anyone you want package, right? So I guess he is upset he's not getting paid, basically admitting, I'm going, and by the way, he got 20 years for that cooperation. We have to assume that OTF Jam told the feds about every murder he did for Lil Durk, hoping that after all this, he'll get his 20 years too. He's going to be allowed in open court to tell everybody he did kill. He's going to say, yeah, I killed Pop. Yeah, I killed him. Yeah, I killed him. Yeah, I killed him. It's going to be in his plea. He's hoping for the 20 years. He knows that he's one of the main key people to try to take down Durk.
If you're catching on, you understand why this doesn't make any sense. If you're catching on, it's a Reddit theory, it's an Instagram theory, it's a Twitter theory that is running rampant, but we're going to make it stop because academics doubles down and it gets completely worse.
Damn, Jam was like a contract killer type of shit. Like, I think we look at OTF Jam and like, bro, he look a little goofy. So we kind of look at him like, bro, like, do we really, like, look at Jam. Like, yo, is he really like, but look, well, this is an AI picture though. I can't cap. But yeah, this is Jam on the right. We were kind of looking at Jam like, man, he might be goofy. But looked like Durk was relying on him a lot. Durk was, in the original inception of Durk wanting to get Quando killed, Durk felt that Jam was going to be able to handle the job. Back in 2022, Durk and this guy's phone call comes out. Boona is telling Durk that OTF Jam is a little bit tight. He's tight because he's allegedly doing these murders. And after that 50K, looked like the 50K was a subscription package. After you get the 50, all right, nigga, kill like 10 people. Now, basically, Jam is starting to complain. Like he wants some bread. And this is where Boona tells Durk over the phone, and Durk reacts. Listen.
I called John. I talked to John like yesterday. I said, well, he said, man, this bitch, that nigga, they was scared anyway. I said, they ain't give you nothing? He said, hell
Why
nah.
Chirac humor
Feel right.
leak
He's
the
looking at me like I ain't feel right anyway. I said, yeah. He like, nah, I ain't fuck with nothing, but,
I just did something that's gonna piss them off. Yeah.
You literally hear Boona say, I talked to Jam. Jam said niggas was scared. Maybe he's talking about a drill or a hit he went on. And he says, yo, did you get paid for it? He said, man, them niggas ain't give me nothing. He's feeling away, and Durk is reacting to it. It appears that Durk probably knew he was starting to feel away, but Durk didn't give a fuck. Durk says, I just did some shit to piss him off. So either he's kind of like bragging about not paying Jam, or there is a theory that Durk quickly start realizing that Jam might be jammed up by the feds, and that's why he doesn't want to pay him. It's either one. But basically, this is proof that Jam felt underappreciated, and the reality is, I know 50,000 is a lot of money, but it's not enough money for unlimited murders.
Now, let me help y'all understand really what academics is saying and what the end result was, because I got sent this shit. I got sent to 90J video like, bro, it's a wrap. It's over. So the original source material is academics, but this is part of a 1090J video. So y'all go check his video out after this, because honestly, bro, this ain't it. The story is this from academic standpoint. Lil Dude got hired, all of this shit, ran the risk of getting a life sentence in prison, and OTF Jam is known for spanking shit outside the streets and all that. And all of a sudden, instead of getting Jam's family members, they get his baby mama. Got it. But here's where it gets a little oddball. The charges. If OTF Jam would have came out and said, I smoked a bunch of people and Lil Durk paid me to do it, the charges would be there. But don't worry, we're going to make it make a whole lot more sense, because the fans already tipped exactly what OTF Jam is going to say. And I'm going to remind you guys of this, because when Trap Lord Ross said what he said, it was already exposed what the fans were trying to do. And Lord, it is the funniest shit ever, because you would have missed it if you were too busy looking at my man Trap Lord Ross out there in a goddamn federal building, just standing there with the wind and ambulance going on. Roll it.
So I'm here at the federal courthouse after the Lil Durk hearing, and we just had some very, very interesting information about, possibly the most well-known alleged cooperator in this case, OTF Jam. Now, there was a crazy back and forth where they brought up a bunch of things about Jam. They said that the song Back Again was going to be used, and I'm not going to lie, I was happy to hear that, because that's like one of my favorite songs. But obviously, in that song, he talks about, Jam got out that jam, I gave him 50,000, he ain't got to ask again. Well, they're basically saying that Jam is going to testify and cooperate and say that 50,000 that Durk gave him, that he rapped about in Back Again, which, bear in mind, was made before King Von even died. But Jam is going to testify and say that he believes that he was given that money basically as like a, as a show of loyalty to basically kind of get, some kind of like future, as basically not like a prepayment, but basically like on the hopes that in future he might be able to do things for him. He might be able to slide for him. Now, what's crazy is that he's allegedly going to testify that actually when they were filming a music video, at some point, okay, this is absolutely crazy. At some point, all right, Durk and a bunch of the other members apparently confronted Jam in a bathroom. They took him into the bathroom, which is super weird, and they apparently confronted him, and they basically said, you moving too hot, you're going to get us jammed up, you got to be more careful about committing murders, and you're going to get the feds on us. Now, apparently that wasn't talking about the Pab murder. Apparently there's other murders, and it sounds like he's actually going to admit to the feds that he was doing all kinds of murders that haven't even been prosecuted by the sounds of it, not even related to this murder, and that he was basically a top hitter in OTF and for the Black Disciples, and that it was really that serious, and Jam was doing all that. So Jam's name came up a couple times. So another area where Jam was brought up, they basically talked about this federal freestyle, and they said that, you know, it's funny because the prosecutors literally said, look, Jam wasn't known as a good rapper. He was known as a hitter, a killer for OTF and for the Black Disciples. He was known as a Black Disciple hitter, and that's why he was put on this federal, ironically named federal freestyle. And that was basically as like, you know, as a favor for Jam. They were saying that that was almost like to solidify his place in the ranks of OTF and the dirt that he was going to or had already committed for the crew. And they basically said that apparently Jam is going to testify that he was in the federal freestyle, and that he basically is going to say that, look, he felt like if he didn't do the murder, if he didn't participate in this hit, that he felt like he wouldn't be included in these there's all types of sirens going on right now. It's crazy. That basically that they feel like Jam said that he didn't feel like he would have been included in all the OTF, you know, things that were going on, these opportunities, if he hadn't participated in that murder. And the last thing I'm going to say is that they said outright that apparently Jam was recruited for the Lil Pab murder by Babymomma, and they basically said that Babymomma had said to Jam specifically that Durk, but referring to him as Blood, he wants to fly you out for this murder. And apparently that's all going to be testified to. That's not looking great, to be honest with you guys.
That's not it. Trapler Ross got it right, but he didn't figure it out.
Fly, bro, can I ask you a question? When you gonna stop doing the police job, bro?
I just heard the police doing.
Nah, bro, you be doing police job. Hell nah, bro. And they be doing police work. Nah, for real though. But you gotta stop talking about people murder trials like that, bro. That shit fucked up. Free Smirk, bro. Hey, you say that, at least?
Bro, keep moving.
Free Smirk? Bro, you ain't nobody. I could talk all I want. Huh? So what though? I'm not committing no crime though. Huh? I'm not. I'm just saying, you know, you taking a picture of bro, but you know what he be on. You know what I mean? Just say Free Smirk, bro.
The Fed said that OTF members are paid with what Jam has. They said Jam isn't even a good rapper. Why did they have to infer that? See, this is really what the Fed's game plan is. It's Jam, it's Threat, it's Vonnie. So let me help y'all out. Jam has a chain. Jam has money. Jam has musical opportunity. Jam heard secondhand information that turned out not to be true. See, the feds are going to use Jam as the hitman for Lil Durk, but the problem with that is where are the charges? Well, Nash, don't say that because they would have already put charges on him. That's the point. They were willing to listen to, golly, a dude capping in his rap in a damn jail cell to a confidential informant, to a jailhouse confidential informant at that, who said all of this shit happened for him. And they have it included into the next trial for Lil Durk, which is the Vicar. See, if Jam really did this shit for Lil Durk, all the shit would be in the Vicar. You want to know the murders that are included? Stephon Mack, Lil Pop, and an alleged shooting in Blackshear, Georgia by Lil Durk himself being there. And then they include the damn shooting that had happened at the university. Those four. None of those include a murder from Jam. You have no damn co-conspirator making statements that's going to say, this murder right here, I did it for Lil Durk, because it would be on there because they just did this shit with the Vicar murder for Stephon Mack. It makes zero sense. You hire somebody, you put the money in their hand, you put chains, you do all of this shit, so y'all not gonna convict them on this shit or try to? Oh, because Durk was broke. Durk didn't have that money. The money that Durk paid Jam to stop doing that shit was because, bruh, we all riding around this damn bitch with guns on us. We all got guns on us. We all thugging in these streets. But you making it hotter than fish grease. If you from the streets, particularly if you from the West Coast, whenever we say, man, you hot, That mean, bro, we know you doing dumb shit that eventually you gonna get caught. We can't be around you. So how about I give this money to get the hell from around me, bro? Because it's only a matter of time before you go to jail. That's what the money was for. If y'all understood this shit way easier instead of trying to make it some complex maze, the feds would have charged Lil Durk for all the murders. They're trying to get a conviction at a terrible rate, according to academics about the 20-year plea deal. Think about it this way. He said that, God dang, Lil Durk is John Gotti, but failed to mention that Sammy the Bull didn't only take down John Gotti, he took down multiple groups of individuals. Not one time did y'all read in any of those goddamn motions, God dang, OTF Jam smoked some shit for Lil Durk. No, he smoked some shit for his gang. Not in particular Lil Durk. That's why you don't see him as a Banks gang person. When you go and you look at somebody like, what's the boy named Chef G, right? He just went to the feds. He doing 5 years in the feds for some shootings and some shit like that. They were literally celebrating their homeboys tearing shit up. You know what didn't happen? The murders that happened and all this shit, and all the shootings and everything, it didn't get tied to him. Because the street cats appreciate the bullshit that comes with it. It's a terrible thing to do as far as, hey, bro, we celebrating you for spraying an op. That's crazy. But none of that shit that academics said actually applies the right way. Because there aren't hella murders piled up on Lil Durk. You would have had it. The Stephon Max shit, the shit that the Chicago feds who are in Chicago saying, damn, bruh, this shit ain't it. And y'all believe that the feds in Chicago will let this shit go and they wouldn't charge Lil Durk? They had him in the damn city. They got a better working relationship with the feds and the police in Atlanta than the feds and police in LA. So nah, man, this is just a crazy conspiracy, a crazy theory, because what it's supposed to do is make OTF Jam look like a goddamn expert. That's why the feds said what they said. They said, oh, Lil Durk rewards them with what? Music opportunities, jewelry, and cash. Isn't that all three things that goddamn Jam did? Jam had? Jam flaunted? Flaunted? Pardon me. So yeah, no, it ain't no damn OTF Jam Babymomma got spanked by OTF members. That's not actually what happened at all. If you know what happened, you know that Jam was worn with a ton of motherfuckers. A ton of cats. Why would this 15-year-old risk going to jail for the rest of his life? You don't think that them interrogators came in there, talked to his lawyer and said, if he tells us who did this shit, who made him do this shit, he'll only get this time and all this shit? Youngin was facing going to jail forever. You don't think he wasn't going to get that shit up? Jam had real enemies. Jam's actions got his baby mama killed. Not know we silencing him. That ain't what happened. If you know, you know. Subscribe, turn on the bell to notify, and share to keep your people aware. Y'all click right here to check out this goddamn Fujiano video, because he came out scorched earth and was like, F Gucci, man. Or click right here for the playlist, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Y'all take care, and y'all come on back now, yeah?